everybody knows how hard hit restaurants and bars and the service industry in general has been hit with the pandemic. But a lot of these nonprofits have been really devastated too.
Welcome to the Shellcast, a show about music, culture, and Memphis.
As we live into our mission of building community through music,
education,
and diversity,
we look forward to interviewing artists and musicians and hearing about how they are writing their own stories,
building their own communities.
85 years strong, and with a rich history, the Shell has stood the test of time as a beacon of hope in the heart of Memphis.
This podcast is brought to you by Orion Federal Credit Union, where a big part of us is being a big part of the community. Visit orionfcu.com to see how Orion is redefining banking.
Welcome to the Shellcast. For today's episode, I spoke with the Orion Federal Credit Union CEO, Daniel Weickenand. We spoke about being a music lover, Orion's prioritization of community, its passion for music-based community organizations, and more. Now, here's our conversation with Daniel Weickenand. I wanted to first start off by asking, which I'm sure many of us would like to know who are listening, are you originally from Memphis?
No, I'm from Houston, Texas. I was recruited to come here back in 99. So I've been here 22 plus years.
Oh, wow. So we'll say you're a Memphian now. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
Awesome. Well, I know, or I've heard that you are a lover of music. Do you by chance play any instruments?
I do play guitar. I wouldn't say I'm professional great, but I pick at it pretty good. But I think, I think a lot of people have passion for music. It's just not everybody acts on the passion.
Very true.
My brother was a professional musician, and I've been around music my whole life. And I think no matter what it is, I think it's just something that I think I enjoy. I enjoy the creativity and the true artists that can put together the sort of words that you can relate to.
For sure. I know Orion, is a supporter of music-based organizations here in the city, as well as festivals and organizations that do a lot of music programming per se. Has your passion for music kind of steered the credit union in terms of that kind of level of community involvement with that sort of programming?
Well, I think one of the reasons that I chose to initially go after that, because when we were rebranding, we started with Memphis in May, which would have been Beale Street, and sponsored a stage. And I think it's about, Memphis. When you think of Memphis, you think of music. And so it's just a matter of that was kind of the inspiration. But I mean, we support a significant amount of, I would say, an array of nonprofits throughout the community that have nothing to do with music, education, hunger, special needs. I mean, you name it, we've been there supporting it.
For sure. I know community involvement is definitely a priority for you all. I guess how have you all continued to kind of make that a priority since we've been in a pandemic, for the last 2 years and haven't had the opportunity to have as many kind of physical or in-person events? What has that been like?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that our commitment has not changed, but the opportunities to be participating in a lot of things, because I think, everybody knows how hard hit restaurants and bars and the service industry in general has been hit with the pandemic. But a lot of these nonprofits have been really devastated too, because a lot of their major fundraisers are in person. You can't have them so we've been looking for different and unique ways in order to contribute to the nonprofits through different avenues in order to support them during these challenging times. I mean, the Shell being one, we have not cut our support of the Shell. even though that for a year there were really no shows whatsoever.
I mean, that's amazing, just to have a partner in the community who understands the rough times that have been had over the last 2 years, that is just continuing to show that unwavering support. So that's awesome.
Well, our mantra is, here is a better Memphis means a better Orion. And it's not necessarily just about Orion. It could be, a better Memphis means a better First Tennessee, or, whatever other organizations. When a stronger community is stronger for everybody. And that's kind of how we kind of look at it. And we hope that our support in the community, and I think it has shown others to step up and do additional things, which is good.
For sure. And I know right before the pandemic, you all moved into a new headquarters in the Edge District, correct?
That's correct. As Boo Mitchell coined the phrase, the bread quarters. So
very aptly named.
Want to learn more about how you can support the Overton Park Shell and its mission of building community through music, education, and diversity? Head to overtonparkshell.org. You can read up on our 86-year history and check out our schedule of events, visit our shell shop to grab all the swag, and find out ways that you can participate in our mission. Whether that's through donations, volunteering, sponsoring a concert, or becoming a member of the Shell Circle. Once again, that's overtonparkshell.org.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, that's a perfect example of you all placing yourself, in the community, in an area that is having a resurgence, so to speak, and making yourself kind of a pillar there to be a part of that growth and resurgence.
Well, again, the board, the executive team wanted to sort of make a statement about what is possible within our community. And, the design phase, we wanted something that looked like a warehouse from New York or Chicago that was just dropped here. And it did turn out pretty amazing, the building itself. And I think since then we have seen others sort of stepping up, organizations doing amazing things, investment in the community in areas that weren't necessarily being developed at the time. We love being in this area. There has been a lot of change. I think COVID has slowed down a lot of things in our community, but I think there's still things happening in the background that we're excited about. I'm excited about, Memphis's future, even though my future with Orion is limited. I think the future overall for both Orion and Memphis is pretty strong.
For sure. And so you speak about the future for Orion. I guess what's on the horizon for Orion in 2022, even in terms of a community involvement?
We're just continuing to do and improve on what we've done within the community. We look for new opportunities. When we first started doing this, my thought was, look, I know how important St. Jude is to not only the community, but to the world and those poor kids that have that illness. But that is what I called like the 300-pound gorilla in the room. It was like, just a fundraising beast that overshadowed all these other organizations. And what we always try to do is find organizations that were doing great work within the community that may be unheralded, that we could support and, help them try to continue to, one, get their messaging out and also, help them achieve their mission. And I think that's what we will continue to do from here throughout. And also just trying to navigate these unique economic times due to pandemics and, inflation and things of that nature. So
for sure. And this is just kind of a question that piqued my interest. I'm curious, have you seen a spike in kind of folks, moving to Orion during the pandemic, given the financial crisis?
We've grown significantly since I took over. Now, I don't know that because I'm out in the community a lot, and I never really. I just want people to come to us sort of organically. If you enjoy what we're doing, we got which is unfortunate. There's fewer and fewer every day of local institutions. A lot of them are being bought up by outside forces that really have no connection or really understanding of the culture and the history of the city.
Right.
And so, and the needs for that matter. I mean, they're here for opportunity, which is what organizations should do. And that's no slight on them. It's just that I think it's important for us to have a strong network of local financial institutions that actually can relate to the challenges within our community and have, I think, some empathy as opposed to having a headquarters out of, some other major city. So for us, we hope that regardless of what local institution, because I'm not against anybody, I think there's enough bandwidth for everybody to be successful if you're doing the right things. And
sure.
So we're really just trying to continue to do what we do, and hopefully people notice us and continue to come to us, and we gain market share. But I think as more and more outside institutions come in and buy local institutions, that may happen because they may realize that, we'd rather go with somebody from the hometown.
For sure. And I guess one last thing before we wrap up, kind of going back to music, are there any, local artists or bands that are some of your faves that you're listening to right now?
I think it's kind of hard to pick a favorite because everybody I've seen in this town is so dang talented. I mean, even the folks, I get asked this a lot because I'll travel with my guitar when I go to meetings across the country. And I'll say, they say you play. I say, I got no problem with playing in front of y'all. But I said, I get to Memphis, I'll have a party at my house and people bring their instruments. I'll leave mine in the place because I'm just outgunned. It's like everybody here is, if they're performing on stage, it's pretty amazing, and you gotta appreciate the passion it takes for that, because it takes a lot of courage too, to get up and just sort of bare your soul for people to go, okay, here I am. And this is me so raw and, to a Memphis crowd. And, I've never seen anybody out that I go, oh yeah, that's not good. So we're very fortunate as far as the city that actually has, and it's different type of music too, which is great.
Yeah.
You go to Nashville, and this is no knock on Nashville, but it's it's all the same kind of that modern kind of country crap, singing about beaches and beers and driving down the road or whatever, with your hat off or something. It's just kind of very shallow. So
absolutely, yeah. Memphis
sells a lot of records.
True, that is true. But the Memphis sound is definitely not monolithic. So now that's a perfect way of putting it. Oh man. Well, Daniel, I appreciate you again chatting with us, and look forward to seeing Orion, continue to do the amazing work you're doing and supporting organizations here in the community.
Well, we look forward to getting back to the show for seeing some live shows, and
absolutely,
once the weather warms up a little bit. And I know that between Beale Street and Mempho and Y'all and the Botanic Gardens, I think things are really starting to pop for our community as far as getting our music scene going again.
Absolutely. Definitely looking forward to it. Well, thank you again.
Well, thank you.
Thanks again to Daniel Weickenand for the great conversation. For more information about Orion Federal Credit Union, visit orionfcu.com. Make sure you subscribe to hear all of our episodes. To keep our tradition of passing around the tip bucket, which started in 1936, please feel free to drop a small gift at overtonparkshell.org/virtual bucket to support the Overton Park Shell. Thanks again, and be sure to tune in for our next episode of the Shellcast.